What is nothing, or what is nothingness? Before you sits a bottle full of nothing. It's described by darkness or black as a color pigment because that is what our mind perceives nothingness to be. Behind the bottle is a white background synonymous with the loading program in the Matrix. White as a color and as a pigment is what our minds usually recognizes and identifies as absoluteness of totalitarian everything. Not because the nature of white embodies everything and the nature of black embodies the lack of things, but because our eyes, as our primary sense that we use to understand our universe, perceives darkness as unknown. It is because the lack of photonic energy traveling through space is described as darkness that our minds perceive darkness as the unknown. It is because all of the color spectrum of light, exclusive to light, I might add, describes white light. And what I mean is when you add all of the colors of the rainbow together, you describe white light. When an object reflects light as a color, it reflects the value of color which it does not absorb. So if something appears to you green, like the leaf of a tree, it is not because the leaf is green, but because the leaf is actually all of the other colors except for green. It is through this nature that we perceive nothingness as darkness. It is through this nature that we perceive the color pigment of black as the absence of information. And I say all of this to bring us closer to our understanding of what nothingness is. Nothingness is the absence of all things. It is the total absence of everything which we can perceive and understand. We live in a universe of space, time, matter, and energy at its most simplistic. The complexity of the universe vastly encompasses greater dichotomy for understanding than just those four categories or characteristics. But for the sake of simplicity, the universe that we live in is comprised of space, time, matter, and energy. Time is the measurement for temporal. So from this moment on, I will use the term temporal to reference time. The bottle before you sits still and infinite. It's an allegoric relationship between nothingness and somethingness. The somethingness being space, time, matter, and energy. The bottle itself represents the complete lack of space, time, matter, and energy. Because you are visually viewing this bottle, the information of the bottle has to be represented with the closest analogy to nothingness that we have in our universe that we see every day, which is darkness or black. If you continue to look at the bottle, if you continue to expand your understanding and your reasoning, the bottle being comprised of glass represents a threshold. A threshold is a relationship ratio between one thing and another thing. That is to say, if you were traveling through space and you were going to enter the Earth's atmosphere, the Earth's atmosphere is a threshold between the vacuum of space and the 14 pounds per square inch psi atmosphere found on the surface of the Earth. This threshold ranges about 100 or 300 miles depending on how you view the consistency of the Earth's atmosphere. But to not get too distracted and to continue to stay on topic with what is the nature of nothingness, we view this glass bottle, and we acknowledge that it is a threshold of something to nothing. We can say logically that the glass bottle, not being comprised of glass but representing the relationship between what is nothing and what is something, is a threshold of the two. It is It is allegoric, both something and no thing. The reason for this is because you cannot have a condition in reality where at location 1 you have something and at location 2 you have no thing. You cannot allegorically describe nothingness empirically in our universe to say that empirically nothingness absolutely cannot exist. And the reason for this is because space as a thing always describes something for us to directly or indirectly view. When you look up into the sky, we have been taught that you're seeing 16.9 billion light years into the past. 16.9 billion light years into the past. That darkness that you're viewing is the vast dimensionality of the totality of our universe as something. If nothingness is to be accurately described and perceived in our mind, we must understand that there can be no place for you to view. There could be no time at which you will view. And there should be no subject matter to be viewed. And there should be no action acted upon said matter, energy, with which to be viewed. The forces and constants of our universe won't exist in the absolute nothingness. The infinite dimensionality of our universe, which we occupy as volume, would not exist. The time that events occur in and take actions through would also not exist. There could be no change if there's no space and no time. There could be no volume, as you see with the glass jar, if there is no dimensionality. The glass jar is a perfect analogy for what is nothing because it's set against the opposition of what we know as natural. We don't look up into the night sky and see a bright white background, but we do look up in the night sky and are at awe with the vastness of darkness. We look into a forest of darkness and we see danger and threat cloaked behind the mysterious lack of information that we otherwise would have as the sun crests over the earth. So it's from these analogies that our understanding of no thing occurs. It's through the indirect relationship of living in the desert and having a desire for water that you understand that no thing can exist. There is no water. There is no place to go. There is nowhere to be. You know. So this is the glass jar, and that's gonna end this analogy as I continue to acclimate to more consistently producing content. So let me know what you think in the comments, and I will do my best to create a more stable, consistent, and structured format for my 02 cent. Have a nice day.